Welcome to You're Cordially Invited, the show that brings you candid and informal interviews with some of the best wedding professionals in the Washington, D.C. metro area. We hope that you enjoy the show, and at the end, we hope that we have inspired you to take these individuals along on your next social affair. Hello and welcome to You're Cordially Invited, the video show that brings you candid and intimate conversations with some of the best wedding professionals in the Washington, D.C. metro area. And today we have in our studio the lovely Miss Sabrina Hare from Couture Cakes by Sabrina. And she's going to talk about all of her delectable delights that she has brought here today to showcase in our studio, and just tell us what it's like to feel, eat, and taste wedding cakes.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to share what Couture Cakes by Sabrina is doing in the wedding industry.
Oh, wonderful. Well, just give us a little background about Couture Cakes by Sabrina.
It's amazing story because I've always cooked. Mm-hmm. I've always cooked with my aunts and my grandmother. So when most people are getting jobs in high school at the mall, I'm working in the kitchen with my aunt while a wedding is going on in the hall. So that's how I was making my part-time money. So I've always been in the kitchen. My grandmother would make peach cobblers and cherry pies, and I just carried that tradition through college. Mm-hmm. When I first moved here in 2000, I would make peach cobblers for family and friends. You know, I wasn't really thinking about selling them, but they were like, oh my God, this is so good. You need to do something with that. So I just continued to gift people desserts. And in 2007, I lost my job. I was working for Deloitte Consulting at the time. Mm-hmm. And instead of sitting at home being depressed, I went to culinary school. And I went to culinary school to get a certificate in baking and pastries. Okay. I ultimately found another job, but I continued to do it in the evening time. And in December of 2012, I lost my job again. And I said, you know, maybe this is the time to do it full time. Now, initially I said, well, I'll just do it until I find something. Mm-hmm. No doors opened at all. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to do this. This is it or whatever. So I stepped out on faith and did it and officially launched Couture Cakes by Sabrina in January of 2013. I think one of the things that kind of makes us special is our designs. Mm-hmm. We try to do things differently. The DC market is so flooded with cake designers that you have to have a niche, mm-hmm. whether it's being fashion inspired, whether it's being modern, whatever your technique is, it has to set you apart from others within the industry.
Okay. So what does set Couture Cakes by Sabrina apart from the other cake bakers out there?
Well, I'm really inspired by fashion. For example, my navy blue cake over here on the table with the pearls and the ruffles was actually inspired by a dress I saw on Pinterest. Okay. It was, the model had a navy blue dress on and pearls were going down the back and her back was open. And I said to myself, I love that dress. That would be great as a cake. So, of course, I took it and tried to convey it as much as I could in sugar. I might be in Target somewhere or I see a pillow. Oh, I'll be like, oh, that would be great on a cake pattern, you know. So I'm always inspired by everyday life. I do a lot of purses and sugar work. So I call myself a sugar artist versus a pastry artist because of the fact that we're known for our sugar shoes. I actually have a sugar shoe line. And people can actually buy sugar shoes as accessories to their cakes. So if people go out to my website, they might see the Michael Kors bag with the shoe or the Chanel bag with the shoe that I use as accessories mm-hmm. for my cakes. Okay. And so I think the design sets us apart. I like to take risks. For example, the cake over there, the green ruffle cake, it was actually done for the first time a year ago for a bride. And I had this idea in my head. She wanted something couture, and she trusted me enough to do that in ivory and gold. And she loved it. So I love that clients trust me enough to take an idea that had never been done and let me express myself through cake.
Okay, all right. So you label yourself as a sugar artist. not a pastry chef. I love that. That is something new. I'll have to remember that the next time I introduce you to someone. Speaking about your design work, what has been some of your best designs? What event inspired it?
I think so far, the thing that really sets me apart so far, my best design are the ruffles. I get a lot of that. People are like, how do you do your ruffles or whatever? They look different. You know, what techniques do you use? I actually hand place each ruffle on one by one. The wedding cake took 8 hours of ruffle detail. Wow. You make the ruffle, you stick them on, let them dry, and then you actually take a paintbrush and take edible paint and edge each ruffle. So I think that was maybe the first cake that I did that really put me out there in a sense where people started noticing the work. So I guess the answer would be the ruffle cake for a wedding.
Okay. And which was my next question. What are you known for? So it's the ruffles on the cake?
So.
Okay.
I think so. I just recently did a baby shower cake with the ruffles, ombre ruffles.
So everybody wants ruffles.
Yeah, it's the ruffles.
Okay.
Which is really different, or the shoes.
So when the clients come in to get their wedding cakes from you, how does the customization process work?
Well, typically I schedule an hour consultation with my clients. Like to get a feel for their likes and their dislikes, whether or not the wedding is modern, is it vintage, is it rustic. Try to get an idea of their color schemes, what type of flowers, and based on that, then the wheels will start churning, and I will actually create a custom sketch for the client so that they can actually see what their cake will look like prior.
Okay.
Clients like this because they actually get an idea of what it's going to look like, and we can agree upon, what the design is going to be before the wedding actually occurs.
Okay.
So that's typically how the process starts.
And then as far as selecting the flavors, how does that go about?
Well, I typically let the clients select the flavors, but I think what I do is I try to coax them and help them to select the flavors that good for them. For example, they might be a fun couple, so therefore they might want key lime, or if they might be a traditional couple, they might want raspberry. They might be risk takers. They might want the coconut with the Malibu coconut rum. So I guess it depends on how fun they are, or I won't say fun, how much of a risk taker they are versus being traditional, and I'll recommend some flavors for them to try.
Okay. And what are some of your most popular flavors?
Geez, I love everything. I love my tiramisu.
Okay.
And tiramisu is our Madagascar bourbon vanilla cake with a mascarpone mousse, with a dark chocolate ganache with a dark chocolate crunch, and with a cappuccino buttercream. I really love that. Our key lime is popular too. And the key lime is key lime cake with a lime curd, with a candied graham cracker crumb, with a Swiss meringue buttercream. And,
Are you sitting up inventing all of these flavors?
I like to play around with flavor pairings too. I like to do different type of flavors. Hopefully the bride hasn't heard of those, or
right.
Maybe
I've never heard of them.
Yeah. So those are some of my favorite flavors.
Okay. Now, besides wedding cakes, do you offer anything else to your brides? Is a peach cobbler on the menu?
No, it's not. But I have a peach nostalgia cake that's an ode to the peach cobbler.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And 3 words to describe you as a sugar chef.
I would say I try to be innovative, fashionable in a sense.
Okay.
And innovative, fashionable, and creative maybe.
Okay, all right.
I know I could have used some better terms, but I'll think of them later. But for right now, that's what comes to mind.
Okay, wonderful. So when the bride comes in to make all of these eclectic and wonderful designs, there's such thing as buttercream, there's such thing as marzipan, and there's such thing as fondant. What is it that you use mainly to decorate your cakes with?
Fondant. Fondant works best for the detail that we use. I can do buttercream cakes, but I'm limited with my creativity by using buttercream. I can't do the pearls or the ruffles, or the sugar lace will not work on buttercream either because it's sugar and it will disintegrate on buttercream. So my medium typically actually is fondant and gum paste. Gum paste is used for shoes and sugar flowers.
Okay, and your fondant is a little different. It doesn't taste as yucky as most fondant does. Kind of tell us about that.
Well, I guess my fondant is it's a Swiss fondant. I use Albert Ooster.
Okay.
And I don't use the satin ice or the Wilton, those types of fondants, because to me they're thicker and they don't taste as good. Whereas the Albert Ooster fondant, you can roll it thin. It just tastes really, really good. And I want the client to eat the whole cake. You know, it's nothing worse than having a client, you know, get to the cake and they peel the fondant back. And whereas I make such an effort to make the fondant taste good, I want you to at least taste it.
Right.
So.
And most of the time, that's what I've known with wedding cakes is that they pull the fondant back and then
I'm like, no, please eat it, please.
And then as far as trends, what trends are you seeing with wedding cake designs?
Oh, everybody's going to the barn, right? They want the rustic, the vintage, or they're doing the lace. I see a lot of lace nowadays. People taking inspiration from their dresses and doing the beading work. Those are some of the trends I see: the vintage, the rustic. Even the glam now. The Great Gatsby movie just inspired glam. I saw the movie and I just wanted to do bling and glam myself. The roaring 20s, right? So I think that is kind of setting a trend for brides.
A lot
also.
of bling, lace. Okay. The rustic style. And when brides are coming to you, do you think it's important to know about the venue, or is it more important to know more about the dress selection in relation to how you're forming the wedding cake?
Both. Okay. I think both. For example, if you have this big, huge ballroom, and you know you have this cake, I need to know how big the ballroom is going to be, so I know.
You don't want to put a little tiny cake.
No, I'll suggest some dummy tears to give you that drama, you know, to take the place of, you know, to give you that look, but it might not be real cake. So I can propose more options if I know what the venue is going to look like. And I also want to see the dress too, because the dress will tell me a lot about you. Are you simple? Are you dramatic? Are you couture? So those things kind of help also.
Kind of going back to fashion, because you love fashion. So looking at what they have on kind of tells you what type of cake.
Oh, they're a risk taker.
Okay. Do you do any groom's cakes?
Yes, I do. I do. I have... It's funny because I posted my Redskins for those who don't like the Redskins. Yeah, don't drop through the screen, right? I posted my Redskins helmet and it got over 240 likes on Instagram.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, okay, there are some Redskins fans within Dallas Cowboy Nation in the DMV. But I do groom's cakes, men's shoes, football helmets. Yeah, those types of things.
Sabrina said don't ding her for the Redskins part, but you know. How far in advance does someone have to get with you to design a wedding cake?
Well, we limit our cakes to 2 to 3 per week because of the fact we're a cake boutique. We operate by appointment only. So we don't want to sacrifice our quality in artistic design. So we recommend, due to the fact that we limit the number we take per week, that they come to at least 4 to 6 months, as soon as they know, if possible, so that we have time and we can get them in, so that they can get their date.
And as far as working with a client's budget, how does that go into what you will design a cake for?
Well, typically during the consultation, I'll ask them, prior to that, but I'll bring it up again during the consultation to get an idea of what is your budget, so that I can design something that's within their budget. For example, if they have a budget of $500, I won't recommend a $350 sugar topper. I'll work with them. I might suggest a buttercream cake with fresh florals and a satin ribbon. So I want to make sure that, everybody can come to me and not be limited by their price point. Just because they see something couture, they might think, oh, she's not someone that I can go to.
Okay, all right. And then as far as dietary needs, I see that is becoming more and more popular every day as far as people that want to be gluten-free. Do you offer gluten-free cakes?
I do offer gluten-free. I offer gluten-free vanilla and chocolate, so it's fairly limited right now, but we do offer that selection.
Okay. So when clients come to you, they come in for their consultation, they've tasted your wonderful cakes, what experience is it that you want them to have?
Where our motto is not just cake, it's an experience. Our cakes are entremet based, and an entremet is a French dessert, which consists of a buttercream, a curd, a mousse, and a crunch element. Okay. So we've done this because we're trying to make cake more of a dessert. So when clients taste our cake, the crunch element is actually a surprise. So they're like, wow, it's something different, in addition to the design. So we want them to have an experience in their mouth per se, I guess.
Through and through, just taste it and
yes,
savor the moment.
Yeah, and a lot of times people will say, well, they're pretty, but do they taste good? You know, so we like to break that whole cycle of you can't have a pretty cake and have it taste good also.
Okay. And since as a sugar artist, working behind the scenes with the client, because you're not as engaged as much, you know, as other vendors would be, how do you get to know your clients?
Well, I think the consultation is a big point too. Getting to know them, following up with them over the months. You know, how's it going? Do you have any questions? Keeping in contact with them and just asking them questions about how the caterer is going to serve the meal. You know, what are their, you know, meal selections. So it helps me get an idea of, you know, what cake flavors will go well in addition to, you know, their likes and dislikes. So just trying to build a relationship with them over those couple months. Plus, we also have a newsletter. So a lot of brides will sign up for our newsletters. So we'll get a chance to keep in touch with them that way also.
Okay. And as far as keeping in touch, how can clients keep in touch with Couture Cakes by Sabrina?
Well, they can go to our website. It's www.cakesbysabrina.com. We're on Instagram, Couture Cakes by Sabrina. We're on Facebook, Couture Cakes by Sabrina. We're everywhere, Couture Cakes by Sabrina.
Just through and through,
right.
Couture Cakes by Sabrina.
Right.
And I know that we focus primarily on weddings, but do you do other types of events for those people out there that may not be getting married but want to taste a little bit of Couture Cakes by Sabrina?
We do birthday cakes, we do anniversary cakes, we do bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, sweet 16s, whatever. Baby showers. Baby showers are big for us too, so.
Any reason for dessert, you can do it.
Yes, I can.
All right. Well, I thank you for coming into our studio today. I have definitely enjoyed having you here. Too. And for those that need some edible, delectable, and some scrumptious desserts, please get in touch with Miss Sabrina Hare at Couture Cakes by Sabrina. Thank you for joining us today for another segment of You're Cordially Invited, and we will see you soon.